to share the gospel. But that's not the extreme display of God's power. The extreme display of God's power is Christ who dies on the cross, and God triumphs over the grave and says, the grave can't even hold me down, and I'm going to prove it by empowering my Son to raise from the dead. So we serve a God who raises the dead. You have inclinations in your prayers, and I know you do, because you were created for this, to pray for the impossible. And then the devil comes along and he whispers in your ear and he goes, oh, you're just being prideful. You're just being prideful. But God gets glory by doing the impossible. So I just want to read a couple scriptures. Imagine if David looked at Goliath, who stood there and defied the armies of God. And as I understand it, here's how it went down. A lot of times, instead of armies going to battle, one against another, and all these casualties and deaths happen only for them to lose the fight, here's what they'll do. A lot of times, they'll take their strongest man versus their strongest man, and they'll have them fight one another, and whoever wins, this way nobody dies except for the one person, and then whoever wins, they say, okay, fine, you won, our armies, our city will submit to your city, we'll be your slaves. So here comes their biggest, fiercest giant. He stands over 9 feet tall. His name is Goliath. All the armies of Israel are scared because nobody has the guts to stand against Goliath. But David comes along, and David wasn't even part of the army. David was sent by his father to go give his brothers some bread. So he's on an errand. He's like, okay, I got bread. And as he comes up into the armies, there's Goliath. He's like, yo, who's that dude screaming? And there's Goliath. I defy the armies of Israel. If any one of you will come out and fight me, if you win, we'll be your slaves. But he says, he mocks him and says, you guys could never defeat me. I'll make you my slave. David hears this. He's like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that defies the living God? Let me put that in modern language. Hang on, this homie right here? By the way, David's a little boy. He's on a bread errand to go give his brothers some bread who are in the army. And David's like, yo, hang on, hold up. This homie right here don't even have a relationship with God. We serve the living God. Like, God watches over us. God lives amongst us. Who is this dude to come against us, and he doesn't even know our God? That means the power of God's not even with him, but the power of God is with us. Man, shoot. I'll fight him. I'll fight him. Now, what if David would have said to himself, David, you're being prideful. Who are you to think that you could save all of Israel? This is what the devil whispers in your ear. Who are you to think that God could use you mightily? You're just being prideful. But David didn't think that at all. David said, no, I'm going to give glory to my God, because God could use a nobody like me. And so you know the story. David picks up 3 rocks. He swings one of them. Bam. Socks him in the forehead. Now, the law of gravity would tell you that when something is in motion and it's headed in a certain direction, that somebody tell me who knows the laws of physics. It says when an object, you know it? When an object what? Finish.
The second law of motion states that force times mass equals acceleration.
Yo.
Come on. So, what's your name? Hey, we have a candy bar here one after service. But let me ask you a question, Trinity. Let me ask you a question. The law of physics should tell us that if the rock was coming at his forehead, which direction should Goliath have fallen?
He would have fallen backwards.
He would have fallen backwards, right? Can you sum up the law that says why he would have fallen backwards?
Yes.
Let's do it. Come on, let's do it.
The force.
Go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
The force of the rock hit his forehead. If it had hit hard enough to stun him, the force would have knocked him backwards, therefore making him fall to the ground backwards.
And if you read the story, Goliath doesn't fall down backwards. If you read the story, listen. If you read the story, Goliath doesn't fall down backwards. Goliath falls down forwards. which I believe God is ultimately displaying his glory and saying David is not really the one that took Goliath out. I'm the one that kicked Goliath on the high side and caused David to fall down forward. I didn't need David. I didn't need rock. But what David had that nobody else had was faith that his God was able to do the impossible. I'm asking you in this room this morning, is there anybody that believes in and of yourself? I'm not asking if you believe that you're something. In fact, I'm asking you, do you believe that God can take a nothing and do the impossible? That's what I'm asking you this morning. If you believe that, say amen.
Amen.
Come on. Now, listen. God chooses weak things for his glory. So right now, as I'm saying this,